Woyome, MP for South Tong, is not going to return to Parliament. Adjoa Safo is not going to return to Parliament. I see Chief of Staff there as well. So this particular Parliament has a lot of casualties. So covering this, how emotional will it be for them, particularly on the government side, where they know that they're no longer going to be in government, and also a lot of the MPs know they are going to return to the House. Quite emotive, right?
Yeah, I mean, so it replaced what happened in 2001.
Okay.
2001, when Rawlings was leaving office.
Yes.
Again, it replaced what happened when Akufo was leaving office.
2008-9.
Yeah, 2009. His party was not returning to power.
Yeah.
And then also John Mahama having to hand over to the NPP.
2017.
Exactly. So it is the same kind of feeling where you would have old hands leaving the chamber for good in some cases. Some will promise to come back later. And then you replay how it all started, why we got here, what mistakes did we make, what achievements did we record. All of that will be playing on their minds as the process.
Explain to viewers the happiness. You see Atachia sat by Napo, MP for South Dai, exchanging pleasantries with him. Yves Hansenote, Henry Korte, Clet Avoka, they are all happy.
Yeah.
Usually in the build-up to the campaign, it sounds very fractious, very rancorous, and you are wondering, I heard, for example, the Roxin Dafiamepo exchanging words quite bitter with MPP, but here he is with Napo, having a good time, Eric Opoku there, people holding hands. They seem very relaxed.
You know, majority of the times, these guys work together in terms of, behind the scenes, get things done, but once the cameras are on,
they play. So exactly. It's an act. They put up an act.
So, for instance, I mean, Cletus Avoka, one of the oldest members of parliament we have in this republic, he's going away.
Yeah.
He lost an election, fought and came back. You understand? Talking to someone who has just lost an election. So maybe
it's advising him that it's not the end of the world. Just continue with your life.
Exactly. So, that's the spirit. There's a lot of things that they get to say to each other behind the scenes. See, Haruna is there.
But what is Haruna and Che? What are they doing together there?
Those are former leaders talking to
doing former leadership talk. It seems to me as though the two worked very well together.
Yeah.
And I remember interviewing both of them, I think around the maturity of the previous government, I think the 2021 season, they were talking about the need to preserve a certain legacy in parliament.
Exactly.
And it was quite extraordinary to have the majority and minority leader on the same show defending a similar position.
Yeah.
I thought that was unique. In my life, I hadn't seen that before.
You see, beyond the partisanship, we also have an institution to build as a people. And if you have a commonality of purpose that, look, when it comes to the building the institution, we need to adopt a certain approach to ensure that we achieve the result we want to achieve, which was what they were trying to tell you.
Yeah.
That we kept having so much attrition in parliament. So many people, come to the house and get thrown out. And there was the need to ensure that people grow into the work. They are not booted out of parliament just like that. And that is about preserving, a certain culture in parliament. But of course, how to get there is where we fight each other as a people. That, the MPP people are saying this, the NDC people are saying this. Which of the paths do we use? That is where you have divisions. But when it comes to protecting the institution, projecting it, I think there should be commonality of purpose.
So we can also see some tiny caucus meetings going on, and all of this is in the build-up to the State of the Nation's address.
Yeah, so this is a volatile caucus, sort of. You have Bejira there.
Bejira, the MP for Pando, the
you
MP for South Dai,
also
MP
there.
for South Tong as well.
Former Volta Regional Minister is there.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was the president himself, how seminal will this be for him? I remember in the campaign, NDC used to play John Mahama's speech, his last State of the Nation address when he was leaving power, as part of his pledge. I think they showed part of that. Of course, Akufo-Addo will not come back in the same sense because he's done his 2 terms. But do these leaders, are there any memorable State of the Nation's addresses that we can all recall in terms of things said to the nation on departure of a former president?
Well, so you had, Rawlings, chronicling what he thought he was going to do and what was done. Recalling that to say that, look, my candidate may not well have won the elections, but there's a nation to build. I have done my part. those who are succeeding should also do theirs. John Kufuor, reflecting after 8 years in office, spoke about, well, I don't think that we had enough time. I think going forward, the constitution should be amended so that we would have a lot more time for presidents to put their thoughts together and then also deliver on their promise to the people. Then you have John Dramani Mahama, who upon departure after just one term in office, said, look, I will leave it to posterity to determine whether I was that bad or I was that good.
Okay.
And, you know, time has revealed that although many thought that as of that time he was the worst thing to have happened to the country, Ghanaians now feel that, look, let's go back to him to come and fix the mess of the current president, if that is to be believed. And then you now have John, what do you call him, President Akufo-Addo, who then has to tell us what he feels of his own presidency. Of course, we've heard him in the last couple of days talking about, look, I believe posterity would decide whether I have been good or bad, not in as many words. But you expect him to go the same line, saying that he did his bit. There may well have been challenges, but I think that
we've heard him say a lot about his legacy, and his people say that it is after he leaves that we'll know the importance of some of the things he did. I'll head you guys in the morning talking about free SHS and the rest of it. We are seeing shots of key institutional heads, GRA head, the head of the NHIA. We also see civil society, we see religious leaders, we've seen Dr. Emmanuel Akwete and co shown in the gallery. If you look on the screen, you will notice that the speaker's side, or where the coat of arms is, at the top of the speaker is where the press gallery is, which is a very preserved position. And I think that the parliament has done very well in giving the press that right of place. So basically, we are sat behind the speaker to oversee what he does and to pray for him while he does his job. So the speaker can see everybody but the press, but we give voice to what he says. Parliament has also now come up with their own live stream, which helps. But these are our own shots in collaboration with Parliament. You can see the Parliament logo there. So I think in the past 8 years, we've also seen the work of the communication side of Parliament go out. So now when we cover Parliament live, even though we send our own cameras, there's always a parliamentary feed.
That's right.
When you started your work, there was nothing like that. So you had to get everything yourself.
Yeah, take your camera in there, yes. Of course, we still do take our cameras in there, just across the speaker. So if you look at the public gallery, the portion that directly faces the speaker, you will have cameramen, they will sit there and project their cameras and record whatever is happening on the floor. But generally, the feed comes from Parliament. It is clean, and that is what we feed.
So the second lady and the first lady have also joined. So we see Excellency Rebecca Akufo-Addo taking a seat, and then Excellency Hajia, is it Hajia? I'm not sure now. The wife of Dr. Bawumia, Samira, also sat there. Chief of Staff is next to her, and that row is part of the Dignitaries gallery. So these are dignitaries sitting behind the majority side. We see justices of the superior courts also sat in that area. So they are in the chamber.
So these are Supreme Court justices.
Yes, so they are not in the gallery. They are in the chamber.
Yeah, they are in the chamber, but those areas are reserved for dignitaries.
Yeah, but my point is that they are sat just behind the MPs.
Exactly.
As against civil society heads who are sitting up there.
Yeah, so they are not necessarily
they are
behind it. So you see where the speaker sits, right, to the right, which is the majority side. There's a space there. That's the space they are occupying. It feeds directly into the majority side of Parliament, to the right-hand side of the Speaker of Parliament. That's where they are.
A lot of the MPs typically will be on their phones because MP job, Alassane Suhuyini on his phone in the middle there. So this is a close shot of Excellency Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and then Samira Bawumia, and then the Chief of Staff. So you can say 3 of the most powerful women in the outgoing government in one beautiful photograph. Some security chiefs. We also see Secretary to the President and one of the President's lawyers, Ekoe Suman, in that shot as well. So from what we know, this will be going on until the alarm is sounded for the Speaker's entry, right?
Yeah, that's it. So now I believe they are in the waiting room, which is the holding room of the Speaker.
So the Speaker, the President, and some of the key officials of state will be in the holding room.
Yeah, so they will be there in the speaker's chambers. They will have discussions. They will say, "Oh, you did this, blah blah." They're sometimes very, very jovial.
Okay.
And then when they finish, then the speaker, together with leadership, will usher the president into the chamber, and then the ritual will begin.
I think it's important for the viewers to see some of these things as well, because some of these help us to understand that beyond party politics, we have a nation to build. So you see the MPs in this great camaraderie, laughing, chatting, having seen each other for a long time. It would be nice to show us some shots of the holding room, just to show that, you know, this is what makes us a country. The fact that our leaders, after the bitter politics, know that there's the business of governance.
That's right.
We have entrusted power to these people to use it to steer the ship of state to a better outcome for our future. And I think that the media depictions help, because there's a lot of division in the way our politics is covered, and sometimes it presents a picture of that we are always fighting. Yes, there are alternative ways to which we want to develop the country, but for those of you who've covered parliament, you know that that's why you are sometimes very skeptical when people take positions in the public and run with it. You say, look, these guys, they are friends. This is politics they are doing. And some of the supporters don't understand. They say, oh, you support this side. They don't know that behind the scenes, these politicians are actually on the same side.
Exactly.
But they create the impression as though they are so different in order to weaponize your anger to get votes.
Exactly.
This is what they do all the time.
Yes, that's how they do that all the time. And after here, you see them having tea together. In fact, even before they come into the chamber, if you go to the cafeteria, you see MPs, MPP, NDC MPs sitting together, you know, having...
Describe the chairs. The CJ is sat there already.
Yes. So
there's a golden seat under the coat of arms. Then there's a brown one to the right, and there's another one with the blue...
so the one
cross.
You see with a blue cross, that's the seat of the Vice President of the Republic.
So Dr. Bawumia will sit there.
Exactly. And then you have
the wooden brown one.
That's for the Speaker of Parliament.
The one directly under the coat of arms.
Yeah, that's right.
Then
no. The one directly under the coat of arms for the President.
For the
President.
President.
Yes. Then you have the black one for the Speaker of Parliament, and then the blue one for the
So in terms of power, President is first, Vice is next. Speaker is next, and CJ is next. But in the seating, President is surrounded by Speaker and CJ, because we are in Parliament.
Exactly, because we're in Parliament, and the head of the institution is the Speaker of Parliament. His authority is preserved there and put in between the President and the Vice President.
We need to remind viewers about basic government. So we have the executive headed by the President, we have the legislature headed by the Speaker, and then we have the judicial headed by the Chief Justice. So all the powers in Ghana are together. So this is a very powerful...
Exactly.
All the powers in Ghana.
Exactly. So this is ordinarily where we took the whole governance business from. You know, when the king was presiding, he was both the judge, the head of state, and then also the lawmaker. But you know, the likes of AV,
the king had all the powers embodied in him.
Exactly. Before they eventually decided, look, there should be something known as separation of powers, so that the person is not seen to be a judge in his own cause. So if you are the person passing the law, you are the person, you know, enforcing the law, and you are the person administrating the law, it becomes a problem. So then we had that division, and that's what has led us here. So we gave the powers.
So that's what I mean by separation.
Separation of powers.
So under a monarchy, the power was embodied in the monarch.
Exactly.
Because the Lord, in the Bible says, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, and the Lord is our judge.
Yes.
But now the president is the king.
Yes.
The lawgiver is the speaker.
Yes.
The judge is the CJ.
Exactly.
So we have three.
Yes, three.
Wonderful. Now what's going on here?
So this is the procession led by clerks at table. You see the deputy clerk, you know, what do you call it? Camilo Poamane.
So the man in
this is the new clerk of Parliament, Ebenezer Jetro, followed by the Speaker of Parliament, who is the head of the institution.
He's in white?
Yeah, he is in white.
Followed by
the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Bawumia. And then you should expect to see the President follow soon. So these are the traditional...
so the Vice President with some accompanying... The President is then...
Yeah, so you see the state sword,
okay,
which normally would accompany institutional, what do you call it?
Then the IGP is behind the president. I believe the Chief of Defense Staff. So the service chiefs are walking behind the president.
Exactly. And then you have the phantom from Dram now.
To welcome.
Exactly.
So we've mixed the British system with their gowns with our phantom from.
Exactly.
So it's, and of course, Speaker Babin has also changed the attire, where in the past...
he decolonized.
Yes, so in the past, the speakers would dress like judges, but he's decided that he would wear what he wants. So today he's dressed like a typical African big man with wearing his agbada with his white. So he will call the house to order.
Yes.
But I believe there's going to be a prayer. So we will be crossing over for the sound from Parliament shortly, as soon as the speaker calls the house to order. But will the president greet people before he sits?
No, so normally the greeting is done after.
Okay.
After the ceremony, because that would then, the house will be called to order, then he would deliver his address, after which then he will move on to greet the people, acknowledge cheers here and there, and then he will leave the chamber.
So he's greeted the Chief Justice, and then he would assume his seat.
Yes.
So let's cross over to hear what's going on now.